Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. And today let's listen to a very interesting story about the cleverness of Sophia Rabbit. Let's start. There is a story that there was a man who had a good wife whom he had just married. They were living together happily. One day they heard that their relatives were coming from another village, so they decided to go to meet them. On the road, they saw two young men, and they looked so handsome that the woman thought, "How can we get a wife like this?" However, he didn't own any fishing nets or fishing rods. Instead, he worked hard at honest jobs such as fishing other people's ponds or gathering firewood. If you like this story, please hit the like button below and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss out on any stories. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Even though he earned very little, at least he was able to feed himself, and that's the end of the story. Every time he wanted to fish, he would borrow his friend's fishing gear and then return it after use. But one day Sophia came up with an idea to make money without working hard. While having tea with his friends, he said, "I have figured out a way to earn a lot of money, and I don't even need to work. Listen carefully, I'll share it with you. All you need is a large piece of cloth, a hook, and a net. First, wrap the hook with the cloth so nobody can see it. Next, put the net into the water and wait. When someone catches it, they will think they caught a big fish, so they will pull it out with all their strength. That's when we jump out and grab their net. By doing this, we can easily steal their catch and get food for ourselves." His friends listened attentively and finally spoke up, saying, "Sock, this plan won't work. People aren't stupid. Once they realize the hook isn't real, they'll throw it back and swim away. It's impossible to grab their net unless you have superhuman strength." Despite his friend's advice, Sos was determined to give it a try. So he bought a big piece of cloth, a hook, and a net, and went to a nearby lake to test his plan. After waiting for a while, a man accidentally hooked onto the net and started pulling it. As the man struggled, Sos became excited and shouted, "Got you!" The man turned around and saw Sos jumping towards him. Startled, the man panicked and quickly threw the net back into the water. He turned around again and found Sophia already gone. Disappointed, he let the net sink and swam back to shore. At that moment, Sophia was swimming back to shore himself. He had seen the man throw the net back into the water and realized his plan had failed. He couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Deciding to try again, he returned to his original spot and waited patiently. Once again, a man got hooked and started pulling on the net. Without wasting any time, the man pulled with all his might. When he saw Soc charging towards him, he simply jumped into the water and swam away. Realizing that his plan had failed again, Sos returned home feeling disheartened and empty. He had wasted money on the supplies and hadn't managed to catch anything. The man agreed to that idea and said, "I want to get a wife too." One of the young men replied, "Don't worry. You tell me. Have you thought about borrowing a cart?" "No, I haven't." "Then let's go to my friend's house. He has a cart. You just tell him that you want to borrow a cart, and he will definitely lend it to you because he is a good man." So one of the young men went to borrow a cart to drive to meet the man who was taking his wife away. When he arrived, the other young man asked, "What are you doing? Come here. Stop talking and play for a while." The newlyweds went in and sat down. A young man arrived. He asked, less than, what is this called?" "You," the couple replied. Less than, they call it a chariot." "Is it you?" the man said. Less than, yes. Greater than. Less than, if so, do you dare to bet with me?" the man asked. Less than what wealth do you have to bet with us?" the young man said. Less than if I lose, I will still be yours. If I win, less than just ask for your wife." The man thought, "It must be called a chariot. What will I be afraid of?" So he agreed to bet with them. Then the young man who was standing asked the charioteer, pointing to the moon. The charioteer said, Less than this is called the moon. Greater than. Pointing to the yoke, he said, Less than this is called the yoke. Greater than. Less than this is called the boat. Greater than. Less than this is called the tray. Greater than this is called the trang. Greater than. This is called the trang. Greater than less than. This is called the trang. Greater than less. Then this is called the trang. Greater than. When he had answered everything, now let's listen to a story about the foolishness of Sock. Once upon a time, there was a silly fellow named Sock, who loved to go out fishing with his friends every day. From that day on, Soc never tried to trick others again. Alright guys, that's the end of the story.